Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's rant on Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, a comedy movie starring Regina Hall and Sterling K. Brown. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's what? It's the Pineys, books 1 through 9, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. I'll also be at Moods Farm tomorrow near Mullica Hill for a signing. Not sure it's going to go off. We may get rained out. So keep apprised of the weather. If the rain's not too bad, maybe I'll go. I don't know. We're going to call tomorrow, see how it goes. They don't have an inside thing, apparently. So, this movie is about a preacher who had some sort of scandal, and now he's trying to rebuild his church. And his wife, who's trying to support him, and they live a lavish lifestyle because of the church. You can see how they live. She calls herself the First Lady. And this is meant to be a comedy, a send up of these kind of religious people. That part of it I like. The comedy's not quite there. I mean, it's okay. It's not great. I mean, there's some awkward sort of office type moments in this trailer, but nothing that really made me laugh out loud. You know, there's a scene where he steps in bubble gum, and I don't know, he's into his clothes, and I think that's a thing for guys who do these sort of public performance kind of church dealies. And then she has a scene where she's talking to another woman. I'm not sure if she's her friend, but then she's kind of acting catty. There's a lot of like reaction shots like this, but they're kind of out of context. So I don't know the laugh because I don't know. You know, like when Pam does it in The Office, I kind of know the context of that. Like Michael's being incredibly inappropriate. Like that woman, she's, I guess, being annoying, but I don't really sense it from the dialogue I'm getting in the trailer. Like I would expect her to say something really, really inappropriate to her in public. Not like vulgar, but something like, I don't know. Oh, it must be so nice you're rebuilding your church after your husband sinned against God. Like something really biting is called for in this trailer, and it's kind of not there. From executive producer Jordan Peele. I mean, but the premise definitely is good. And then there's this scene where they're outside saying "Honk for Jesus." They're, I don't know, installing a new sign for their church. They're trying to get more parishioners. But I think they seem to kind of just be in it for the money. And then this scene almost had me. The other couple in this scene says something like, "You can't possibly do that," or something like that, and they kind of go, "What?" Like, you know, they're really obviously very guilty, but they're trying to deny it poorly. I don't know. I don't know if Sterling can really carry this movie. You need a guy who's really gonna go big. You gotta go big on this stuff. If this is going to be a comedy movie, he has to go much bigger than this. His ego has to be completely out of control. You know, you can't make this realistic. Nobody wants to see a realistic movie about this. If you're going to make it a comedy, you got to go for the laughs. It feels a little tame, you know. Honk for Jesus, save your soul. I mean, why not just call it Honk for Jesus? Was the Honk for Jesus movie title taken? And again, this is another reaction shot of her looking mildly uncomfortable, but it's not like somebody should get her. Like really say something that makes her just furious. And then she has to kind of internalize that, right? Like, "Oh, is that what you're wearing? Are you going to put on a nice clothes for the interview?" And then she goes like something like that. But no one's doing that in this. So this is in theaters September 2nd from Peacock. Written for the screen and directed by Adama Ebo. Adama Ebo. It's a solid premise. I'll tell you that. It's a solid premise. You know? He's got a black Jesus statue that looks like him. Like, that would be a scene too, right? Oh, we got the new statue. Why does it look like you? It doesn't look like me. It looks exactly like you. You replace Jesus with you. You can't look like Jesus. Like a scene like that, where his wife is like, oh God, you've gone too far. I'm kind of not seeing that in this trailer. So, I mean, they play rap music underneath it. Is that supposed to make me want to see the movie? Is that supposed to make it funny? I mean, it's a solid premise. Let's see. Regina Hall stars as Trinity Childs, okay, very religious, the proud first lady of a Southern Baptist megachurch. She called herself the first lady. I didn't get that, but I guess that's a thing. Who, together with her husband, Pastor Lee Curtis Childs, Sterling K. Brown, once served a congregation in the tens of thousands, but after a scandal forces the church to temporarily close, Trinity and Lee Curtis must reopen their church and rebuild their congregation to make the biggest comeback that commodified religion has ever seen. That sounds like a great premise, but like they don't even tell me what the scandal was in this trailer. That would be good too. Like, what was the scandal? And the scandal should be like totally insane. Like, he got caught at a sex dungeon with like 2 hot cheerleaders having sex with him, and then you see a clip on the news, and you know he's having sex, and like they blur it out, and he's like, oh, wait a minute, you don't understand. That's not what's going on. Like something like that, like really big. They're not going for big here. It feels like you're just kind of, I don't know. There's so much material to mine here, and I'm not seeing any of it in this. I'm seeing a lot of it seems to focus on Regina, which is fine if Sterling was delivering the goods for her to react to. So, would I see this movie? No, it looks terrible. I want to like it. I really do like the premise. I think you could do a lot with this. You know, there's nothing worse than someone who's holier than thou who, you know, fails. You know, these mega churches, they bring in millions of dollars sometimes. And a guy like that, yeah, I want to see him taken down a peg. I want to see him satirized. But I'm just not seeing a comedy here. Am I missing it? You tell me. Watch the trailer. First act, I think it's done in an Office style, but then some of the scenes seem to be not done in the Office sort of pseudo documentary. But I would guess the beginning would be something like the scandal, and then their announcement of a comeback, right? That they announce a comeback, and you know, like this scene, he steps in bubblegum or something, and then I guess he curses a blue streak and then tells the cameraman to cut that part out. But they don't show you cursing. They don't show him cursing. Now, okay, you didn't want to put it in the trailer. I totally get that. Bleep it out. Bleep it out so we could see him getting way too angry at messing up his shoes. Like, that's a sign, right? Like, he's supposed to be this minister of a church, or pastor of a church. He's not supposed to be concerned with money, but then when he wrecks his like $1,000 shoes and loses his S, then we see, oh, he's really about the money, see? And that's like a betrayal of his, you know, office or whatever you want to call it. That would be a great scene. Why would you cut that for the trailer? It doesn't make any sense. Who cut this thing? So maybe the funny parts are here. The guy who cut this trailer maybe needs to be explained what comedy is. I mean, this is going to be a weird theory, but did the guy who cut this trailer, was he afraid that he would make the black cast look bad by showing those moments? That's the whole point of the movie. Maybe. I don't know. I can't think of any other explanation why you would cut that scene. It would be. I totally get why you wouldn't show it, why you wouldn't hear, the cursing, but bleep it out. What? Doesn't make any sense. So second act, he gets out of prison maybe. They don't show anything like that, but they rebuild their church or they buy a new church. They've got very little money, but then they also cut to private moments with the characters. So I'm not seeing that as a documentary style. So you kind of can't flip back and forth between documentary moments, and it's kind of got to be all or nothing, I think, with an office, if you're going to shoot it in that office type style. So I'm a little confused on that, but they're going to rebuild their church and it all goes wrong, right? It all goes wrong. Or he has to actually find Jesus, right? See, that could be I'm really not seeing what the ending here is other than maybe they fail spectacularly. In that case, what I would want to see is something like he actually finds Jesus, right? Like he has a real come to Jesus moment, and his wife at first is like, uh-oh, he's kind of going too far. But then they start making crazy amounts of money, right? Like maybe he performs a miracle or something. He just has this moment where he comes to God, and it's so sincere that people believe it, and they just start flocking back to the church. Maybe a miracle, like a minor miracle he ends up performing. Maybe he saves a guy's life or something in a moment that just, it's realistic enough it could have happened, but the odds are very low. And then people start coming back to the church, and at first it's like, oh, okay, we're going to be a real church, and we're going to be a real church and then you could do one of two things. Either he could become more and more Christ-like, and then the establishment hates that, like he actually gives away the money. And they're like, no, you can't give away the money. We're making money again. Like all the sleazy guys around his first church show up, and instead of giving away the money, they expect it to be given to them, but he gives it all away, and then they destroy him, and he goes back to prison, or his church is destroyed. But he's a real preacher, and then the statement is like, yeah, if you were really like Jesus, you wouldn't have this mega church. The other way, of course, which would be probably the funnier way, would be to have him have this come to Jesus moment, do this miracle or whatever, fall into it, start making money, have the wife believe in him for the first time and really believe in God, and then he gets corrupted again. Like he gets totally corrupted, and it slowly ramps up, and then the third act, he's just completely out of control, and then they're trying to cover it up again. And this time it's a bigger scandal than even the last one. And then it all falls apart, and they end up back where they started, if not lower. And maybe they end up divorced, and there's like an epilogue where you see what happened to all the characters. But I'm not seeing either of those endings here. It almost feels unfinished, the movie. So this is coming out in theaters and on Peacock September 2nd, which is probably why it's got that kind of Office feel, because it's coming out of NBC, right? That's where The Office came out of. So, yeah, I gotta say no on this one. Yeah, I wouldn't go see this. Maybe if there was another trailer cut and I heard, oh, no, you didn't see the really good scenes, maybe. Because I do really like the premise. But I'm just not seeing it. Sorry. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. We got a Hollywoke hot take and a news blast. I'll be at Mood's Farm tomorrow, but we might get rained out. So be advised, it's at Mullica Hill. It's a great farm. Even if I'm not there and you go all the way out there, get yourself some blueberries. They're really good. Especially this time of year. I will try to be there. Maybe the rain will hold off. Fingers crossed. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.